Hello everyone, it's Apple again. So today I'm going to do another drawing challenge. This one was requested by a few of you guys, and it was inspired by Kasey Golden here on YouTube. I'm going to be doing the teeny tiny drawing challenge. So that's where you start with one normal sized piece of paper and you work your way down to a really tiny piece to see exactly how small you can draw. So I believe this first one is 12 inches and it goes all the way down to a little smaller than 1/4 of an inch. So let's get started. So for this challenge I'm going to be drawing Totoro. I painted him galaxy in the center, so a galaxy Totoro for this drawing, and this was the full version, so the 12-inch drawing, and now I'm going to get into doing the rest of the smaller ones. So for scale, this next one is going to be 6 inches tall, so about half of the original size. So when I was trying to decide what to draw for this, I wanted to pick something that would be simple, since I knew as the drawing got smaller, details would be even more difficult to even get on the page, let alone make out. So Totoro seemed like a good option, and I really liked this movie growing up, so I was like, why not? And I wanted to add my own little kind of spin on it by coloring in his stomach galaxy themed, and I thought that would also be pretty cool to see what would happen with that and how much I could actually do with it as the drawing got smaller. So as you can see on the 6-inch size, it really wasn't too different from the large size. I'm really enjoying doing these drawing challenges for you guys, so definitely keep suggesting them below because they're a lot of fun, especially when you don't know what to draw. Honestly, just Google a drawing challenge and find one that you think you want to try or something that would be an actual challenge to you. For me, I was mostly interested to see how small I really can draw and thought, why not? So yeah, definitely keep suggesting these kinds of videos to me because I really have fun with them every time I do them. So now we'll start the next one, and this one is going to be 4 inches tall. So for these larger Totoro drawings, I decided to use my multi-liners to outline him, but as the drawing got smaller, you'll see that it's more and more difficult to use my inking pen. But it was fine with me since normally I wouldn't leave my drawings in pencil without outlining them before coloring. And that's usually when I do Copic markers. For watercolor I really didn't care since the pencil wasn't gonna smudge, especially when it was really small. I could just dab the watercolor on. So yeah, I chose watercolor for this drawing challenge since I felt like it would be the easiest to do, and also it was it's really difficult for me to get that galaxy effect in the center without using watercolor. Now we're getting into the smaller ones, so this one is 2 inches tall. So I believe that this 2-inch drawing of Totoro was the last one that I did that was kind of decent before it actually got to be too small to really put many details into it. I had to start switching over to my thinner inking pens, so my 0.05 Copic inking liner, and then I also started to use a really small lead pencil. I think it's 0.3 rather than using a 0.7. So yeah, there was that. Another thing is that these drawings started to get much faster as I went on because they were really small, so didn't take as much time to finish them. So this one is 1 inch about. At this point in the drawing, when it came to watercoloring, I basically just needed to dab down the watercolors very lightly because they just started to spread out a lot and the colors were all blending in themselves, so I really didn't have to do a lot of work with that. So I basically just had to be careful not to go outside of the lines of his stomach so that I wouldn't mess up the rest of him. So now this one is 3/4 of an inch. This is the one that I had to switch over to the 0.3 lead pencil since the other one was just way too thick to be able to draw any kind of detail. And I found it the most difficult to draw the face, honestly. His eyes, I couldn't get those circles around them, so I think I just started putting little dots and hoping I could get away with it, because honestly I could not detail his face when it was this small. And behind each of these drawings, I actually have a piece of tape so that they don't shift around too much on the table, because normally I hold down my drawing if it's a loose piece of paper, but for the most part I'm drawing inside of a sketchbook, so I don't normally have to hold it down. So for these, since these were loose, and especially because they were small, if I hadn't taped behind them, they would have just been slipping all over the table. Our second to last drawing is 1/2 inch. The one thing that wouldn't change throughout this whole picture was my watercolor brush. So the size was always the same for that. I could always change up my pen sizes, but the size of the water brush was always the same. So toward the end I kind of had to be more careful and just kind of dab it on there with the very tip of the brush, because if I went too crazy it was gonna start to just bleed over the entire picture, and that's not what I wanted. And as you can see for this one, the inking did not go very well. Kind of got a little smudged and all that, so tried my best with that part. But yeah, the smaller you draw, the harder it is to ink. And then this last one is a real challenge. This one is about 1/4 inch, and this one was honestly the most challenging. It was basically just a little blob. I couldn't even really make a face on him. But A for effort, right? You know, maybe, no. Also, sorry if the quality's kind of bad on these last few that are really small. My camera can only zoom so well, so I tried to do it the best I could, but if it's a little blurry, sorry about that. So everyone, that was my version of the teeny tiny drawing challenge. As you can see, the Totoros kind of go downhill after about this one right here. I think that was the 1 inch. So, but I had a lot of fun drawing this and challenging myself to see how much I could actually do with so little paper. I think the biggest challenge was doing the face details, because as it got smaller, his face kind of became not a face anymore. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Please leave comments on what you'd like to see me do next, and please subscribe, leave a like, and you can also follow me on my Instagram at appleminte. Links in the description below. I will see you guys all next time, and until then, have a beautiful day. Bye bye!